G'day collectors, Rob here for episode 4 of Aussie Diecast Reviews. Hope you're all doing well and I hope you're enjoying the show. So before I start, I want to readdress something that I did on episode 3, just about the aerials that I tried to install. There is another hole to insert the other aerial, that's why they come in pairs, and they do fit. So yeah, the other hole is actually near the rear wing. There's a little hole there. So yeah, they do fit. So yeah, I thought I would just better clear that up. But anyway, now that's sorted. Episode 4. I've got 2 cars for today's episode. So let's get stuck into it, and I'll kick it off, and we'll be reviewing these cars here. Sweet. Okay, so here we have 2 118 Apex Replica Ford FG Falcons. The team DJR Jim Beam Racing, and the drivers are James Moffat and Matt Halliday. That's that one there. And Stephen Johnson and David Bernard in this one here. These cars are based off the 2011 Bathurst 1000. They're not Bathurst winning cars. They're more a part of the Dick Johnson collection, or Ford collection. I guess you could say they're a twin set in some way because they are coming from the same team. This is a special livery that both cars ran on that weekend, and I'm pretty sure they ran the livery for the rest of the season after Bathurst. So both these cars had a pretty eventful 2011 Bathurst 1000. So let's have a bit of a look at what these cars did. Dick Johnson Racing started the 2011 V8 Supercar Championship surrounded in controversy after losing championship winning driver James Courtney to the Holden Racing team and also team manager Adrian Burgess to Triple Eight Racing. DJR also had a falling out between part owner Charlie Schwenkoff. The falling out between DJR and Schwenkoff saw the racing entitlements license of Car 18 handed back to DJR. With major sponsors Jim Beam also backing DJR for a further 2 years, the team also recruited the son of 4-time Bathurst winner Alan Moffat. James Moffat would join the team in his debut season in the V8 Supercars. Following in his father's footsteps, DJR also retained Johnson's son Stephen as a full-time driver. Moffat and Johnson would finish the 2011 season mid-pack. Johnson would finish 15th and Moffat in a disappointing 23rd place. For the 2011 Bathurst 1000, both cars would struggle to find pace. The team had changed liveries to both of the Ford Falcons that weekend. Car 17 ran a silver and black Jim Beam paint scheme, while the Car 18 ran a striking gold and blue livery. Moffat teamed up with Matt Halliday in Car 18, and Stephen Johnson paired with David Bernard in Car 17. Thursday's practice was plagued with rain and fog. There was also an issue with wet weather tyres, and final practice was cancelled. Qualifying saw both cars out of the top 10, with Car 18 starting from 17th and Car 17 starting 24th for Sunday's big race. On race day, DJR would have a Bathurst 1000 they would rather forget. James Moffat and Matt Halliday would finish 15 laps down in 25th position. But the biggest incident of the whole race came from Car 17. After pitting Car 17 on lap 112 for new brake pads, Bernard lost contact with his engineer. Failing to pump the brake up, Bernard hit the tyre wall at more than 250 km an hour on the approach to Mountain Straight. Fuel from the Falcon had then ignited, starting a snaking fire which led to Car 17 and set the Falcon up in flames. Fire marshals were quick on the scene to douse the inferno, and Bernard emerged from the destroyed Falcon. And now let's look at the model. Yep, that was a scary one. Very lucky to get out of that one. Okay, so on to the models. So here we have, as I said before, Apex Replicas. Change of model brand for today as well. Jim Beam Racing. These are Ford FG Falcons. So you've got the front, the side, pretty basic stuff. So I'll get these out of the box and we'll have a bit of a closer look. Alright guys, so I've got the certificates of authenticity. As I said, Dick Johnson Racing collection. These are the one on the left. I have 278 out of 582, so very low numbers for these cars. And the one on the right is I have 159 out of 462, so even lower. So yeah. Anyway, let's unveil these cars. So there we go. Alrighty guys, so we'll start with the front of the cars. Now, these models look nice from afar, but when you get up close, they're not as detailed as, you know, other model car companies in Australia. So just to be warned, this is going to be a bit of a rough episode, I think. So anyway, let's get stuck into it. One thing I got to say is they do look good, like the actual paintwork and all that. Well, it's not paint, but it's the stickers and all that. They don't look bad. They don't look bad. Detail wise, nothing opens. Yeah, nothing opens in the here. Boot bonnet doesn't open, so not much in the way of detail at the front, but we'll move on to the side. So that's just the 18 car. Very nice. As again, no opening doors. Completely sealed. And then we've got the 17 car. With the Jim Beam actual livery, I don't know, I think it was just a special brand that Jim Beam had that weekend. I mean, they've got black and boned. I don't know what that means, but yeah. Yeah, so we'll have a look at the back of the car. Car 18. Car 17. We'll have a look underneath the car. And looking underneath, not much going on. Anyway guys, I'll give my honest review about these cars and we'll wrap it up. Okay guys, time to give my honest review about these cars. As you can tell, not a lot going on in the way of detail in the way of these cars with like opening parts and doors and all that. Now these cars that Apex Replicas make, they're a sealed resin model. That means the mould is actually sealed and there's no opening parts at all. The wheels don't turn at all. They're stationary. Now Apex do make resin models and die-cast models, but I think it's more towards the V8 supercar models. They tend to use the resin. Now they do make die-cast, which is, you know, it's good die-cast. They make a 1998 Bathurst winner, which is good, you know, good quality die-cast. But now me personally, I'm not a fan of resin at all. They look cheap, they feel cheap. I mean, just getting them out of the box, the actual air filter came out of car 17, so, you know, they're just, I don't like resin at all. So, and to be honest, they're just crap. But I think that's the way die-cast companies are going towards these days. Now this is due to the increased cost of die-cast production in China. Plus there's a lower demand for V8 supercar models in Australia at the moment. But I guess the upside, I guess you could say, is you're not paying over $200 for a V8 supercar model. But in saying that, these cars were going for a retail price of $180 to $190. So that's crazy for something that, you know, feels like and looks like it came out of a cereal box. And, you know, it should be more like $50 in my opinion. I would rather pay the extra money to at least have opening doors and opening bonnet. I mean, what's the point of having, I mean, these inside, I can't really show you, but inside these cars are actually quite well detailed. So what's the point of having a detailed interior when, you know, you can't look at it or at least see it, what's inside of it. So for me, die-cast all the way, but even die-cast models have been a bit rubbish from other companies, but I'll get into that into another episode. So what I might do is I might get a Bianchi FG Ford Falcon and a Classic Car Collectibles Ford Falcon just to compare them up between die-cast and resin. So, alright guys, so you've got the Apex Replica Ford Falcon FG, the Bianchi Ford Falcon FG, and the Classic Car Collectibles Ford Falcon FG. Now, obviously, this one comes in last place. I'd probably say this one probably have to come in second. This one definitely first. You know, obviously this one's resin. Both these cars here are die-cast, so just I'll point out a couple of features between all three cars. Alright guys, so some of the different features between all three cars. Take a look at the gap there of the Apex replicas. I mean, there is no gap at all. Then you move on to the Bianchi one, and there's a decent gap, which is always good. The tyres are way too far up in the guard in the Apex one, but the Bianchi one, it's got a reasonable size gap, so this is good. Now onto the classics. It's probably just a bit of the same as Bianchi's car. So yeah, now for camber and ride height, I would probably have to say, let's have a look at the, so you've got the gap there, it's not bad. Bianchi's probably a little bit higher, and the classics is really low. I mean, there's not much gap underneath there, but I think it's the Apex one has got a lower ride height out of all three cars. Now, obviously I can't look at the engine bay at the Apex one, but we'll compare it between Bianchi and classics. Alright guys, one thing to note on the Bianchi one is, I don't know if you can see it, look how loose that the front guard is. I mean, it's loose compared to the classics one where it's solid as a rock. But anyway, that's something, a point deducted off the Bianchi one. Anyway, let's see if these bonnets suffer from erectile dysfunction, eh? So Bianchi, he's alright, and the classics, he's alright. Alrighty, so we'll start with the Bianchi model. As you can see, very well detailed. Some of the features here you've actually, you've got, no, he doesn't want to stay up now. There we go. You've got some of the straps here for the engine, I guess. Now for the engine cover, it lifts, but it doesn't come out. And to be honest, I mean, look at the trumpets. I mean, there's a little bit of movement there, so that's not too good. But yeah, the cover does lift, but I can't actually can get it off, so, and I don't really want to muck around with it because I don't want to break it. So detail wise, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's a little bit cheap, but anyway, we'll have a look at the classics one, see what that's like. And now moving on to the classics, and of course engine bay comes straight off, and you've got the full detailed V8 engine. It's a shame they don't make them like these anymore, classics, but anyway. Alrighty, so we'll have a look at the boots and the fuel systems in each car. We'll start off with the Bianchi one. Alrighty, and as always, underneath, does it stay up? It does. So, yep, not bad. Oil system, fuel system. Oh, what I like, you've even got the, I guess you could call them the straps there. I think that's just for the boot, the connection to the boot. So yeah, not bad. We'll have a look at the classics one. Alright, so classic car collectibles. Ooh, he's a stiff one. There we go. And does he want to stay up? Kind of. Fuel system, oil system, they're pretty much the same. Some couple of differences, but yeah, not a lot. One thing I'd like to show you is the actual camber and the stance of these cars. Alrighty guys, just to show you some of the camber and the toe in, toe out. One thing you can see is the suspension and the Bianchi one is very noticeable. Not much in the way of the classics one, but you've got the fuel system there. Now, the camber on the rear of the Bianchi one sticks out more than the actual classics one. I mean, look at that. That's the Bianchi one, and that's the classics one. Try and get more of a bit of an angle there. Now from the front, yeah, I'd probably have to say Bianchi for camber wise and stance wise. Just looks more aggressive and yeah, not bad. I think I'll wrap it up now, guys. I'll give my honest review about the Apex cars and we'll wrap it up. Alright guys, just to finish up my honest review about these cars just very quickly. The quality, paintwork and stickers for a resin model, they're not bad. They're not bad. The goods, the actual interior on these cars are, they're pretty good, but unfortunately you just can't see them. So the goods, interior is good. The actual, the stance and the camber and that on the car, on the models is not that bad. Obviously bads, look, no opening doors, no opening parts, no moving wheels. Just overall, it's, if you're a passionate collector like myself, it's not very good. Now, where I got these from, I got these off eBay. I think this one here I got in 2012. I think I got it for a price of $120. And I only recently got this one. I think it was probably a couple of months ago. And I got it for $110. So, yeah. But even still, paying that much money for a car that doesn't, it's not very well detailed is crazy. But how rare it is, it all depends, I guess. I mean, they are very low. I mean, 400 and something and 500 something. So they're very low in numbers. Like I said, you don't know. It could go up one day. It could. I mean, on eBay now they're going for around, I think it's $120. So they're not a very rare car, I guess. But like I said, the numbers are very low. So you don't know. One day it could be high, and one day it could be low. Just depends on what kind of collector you are. If you're a Dick Johnson collector or a Ford collector, then, go for gold. Especially this car because of the big accident it had. I mean, that was a massive accident. So, out of rating out of 10, I'd give it a disappointing 2 out of 10. It's not as detailed as other model car companies in this country or in Australia. So, yeah, disappointing 2 out of 10. So, if you are looking at getting these cars, don't be silly and pay over $200. Like, don't pay anything over $200. Just don't, because it's not worth it. Like I said, who knows? They could go up in value one day, maybe down the future in the road. But lately, now in 2016, don't pay over $200. So that's it for episode 4 today, guys. I know it was a bit of a, I don't know, you could say a bit of a bashing of these cars, but I'm only giving my honest review. So, yeah, that's it for episode 4. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe and favourite. If you're enjoying it, share. And I'll catch you around, and I'll see you next time for another All Aussie Diecast review. So, catch you around.